Olá! Oi, pessoal, tudo bem? Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Welcome to this Q&A. I'm very happy to be here with you today. Let me know if you guys can see me and hear me well. I see Jacob, Edgy, Chase, tudo bom? Omar. Hello, everyone. So today we are going to talk about my last lesson, which was about the south of Brazil. So I decided to create this series of videos about the 5 main regions in Brazil: Sul, Sudeste, Nordeste, Norte e Centro-Oeste, so the 5 main regions. Last week we talked about the Southeast, o Sudeste, and this week we are talking about the South, o Sul, a região Sul. Okay, so I can see that you guys can hear me well. That's great. Oi, Valentina. Oi, Israel. Muito bom. Oi, Juan. Oi, Linda. Maria. Tudo bom, gente? It's a pleasure to be here with you today. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the last lesson, and I'm also available to answer your questions. Okay, so if you have any questions about the lesson or any questions about Portuguese, I'm here to help you, okay? So, por que você está falando em inglês? Because I'm talking in English because this video is for all levels of Portuguese, right? So if you're a beginner, if I speak in Portuguese, it is obviously very difficult for beginners to understand me. So when I teach live classes for all levels, I usually speak in English so everyone can understand me, okay? I cannot add subtitles to live classes, right? So my videos, they are always 100% in Portuguese with 2 subtitles, but when I teach live classes, I usually speak in English to make it easier for everyone. Muito bom, gente. So if you are watching me on Instagram, I recommend you use the tool, the question mark tool. Just click on that so you can ask questions using that tool. It is hard for me to read all the comments and all the questions, okay? I'll do my best to read your comments and questions so I can answer your questions in this Q&A. So let's talk a little bit about the lesson about a região Sul, the south of Brazil. As I talked in the lesson, the south has 3 states. Quais são os 3 estados do sul do Brasil? What are the names of these 3 states in the south of Brazil? Do you know? Would you like to try to write the names of the 3 states of the south? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to check if you know, if you really watched the lesson, and if you can tell me the names of these states. So 3 states in the south. Do you guys, okay, waiting for your comments because there is always a little bit of delay. So the south, it is a little bit different from the rest of the country because we had a lot of course we had European immigration in all over Brazil. Obviously we were colonized by Portuguese people, but we have this stronger European culture in the south because we had a lot of people from Germany, Italians, and people from so many other places in Europe that migrated to the south of Brazil. So we have a lot of, and we still have today communities of people from Germany and Italy, especially, mostly. So this is more strongly, you can see that more clearly in the south of Brazil. Even though the entire country was colonized by Europeans, it is easier to see that in the south. And of course, you also find a lot of people, African descendants and indigenous. They are everywhere in Brazil, but in the south it is easier to see that influence from Europe. So I see you have the answers here. I see many of you have written the names of the states: Rio Grande do Sul, Paraná, and Santa Catarina. So these are the 3 states that we have in the south of Brazil. Rio Grande do Sul is the one further in the south. Paraná is the one closer to São Paulo, and Santa Catarina. very good. So in which state it is more common to find shimaho, which is the tea. It is a tea made with yerba mate, and we find that in all the 3 states, but it is more common in one of the states. And also churrasco, which is Brazilian barbecue, in which state that is more common. I'm asking you questions to see if you guys have watched the video. Okay. Looking for more comments. If you guys have questions, also let me know. So Chase is asking questions. Are there any dialects of Portuguese spoken in the south? Yes. Of Portuguese spoken only in the south. I'm not sure about that. I know that we had a lot of Açorians coming to the south, especially Santa Catarina. So if you go to Florianopolis, some areas, they have an accent that sounds a lot like Açores in Portugal. And I'm not sure if they speak like a dialect that it is from Portugal. I'm not sure about that. Probably. But I know that they have this accent that sounds like Açorian accent. Okay, guys, more questions. Let me know if you have questions about this lesson or any other question, any question related to Portuguese. I'm here to help you. Okay. So GP is saying that lived with German, Italian, and Polish families in Cascavel. Oh, that's amazing. That's great. Você gosta do chimarrão? Yes, I like chimarrão. So yeah, so people is answering the question that I asked. So Rio Grande do Sul is the state with more, where people love to drink chimarrão, which is the tea made with yerba mate and erva mate, we say in Portuguese. And also where you find a large culture of churrasco, which is Brazilian barbecue. Okay. I watched the video. Okay, guys. Looking for questions. So, o Oscar is asking, tem muitas pessoas que falam línguas indígenas no Sul e no Brasil em geral? Você conhece pessoas? Yes, there are a lot of indigenous in Brazil. Unfortunately, our history of indigenous in Brazil is very sad. They were most of them, they were killed. So it is not common to see indigenous people in the south and southeast of Brazil. I have never, probably there are people there, but it is not very common. You don't see them everywhere. So I don't know anyone. So I lived most of my life in the south and southeast, and I don't know anyone. I've seen indigenous people in the northeast when I lived there, so it is a little bit more common. There is a huge community in the Midwest of Brazil, região Centro-Oeste, the Xingu community of indigenous. There are a lot of indigenous in the north, Amazonia, but unfortunately it is not easy to find them in the south and southeast, I think. If you are Brazilian and you want to give your opinion, I'm here to listen to you. And yes, there are a lot of indigenous languages in Brazil. The most famous one is Tupi-Guarani, but there are also other languages because each tribe speaks its own language. But I don't know, I don't have much information about that. I'm planning to invite an indigenous person, a teacher, to talk with me in this channel to talk about this, right? Because it's something that even us Brazilians, we don't have much information about our indigenous people. We don't learn much about that in school or anywhere else, unfortunately. Muito bom. Você toma chimarrão em Nova York? No, I do have like a chimarrão cup at home because my husband likes it, but I don't drink it. So Haley's asking, I'm very interested in Portuguese language. Do you have any tips to keep motivated, to keep learning? Well, I think that motivation is something that comes from inside. So you have to find your motivation. So usually when I find motivation when I am planning a trip, for instance. So if I'm planning to go to Germany, then I find a lot of motivation to learn German. Or I also find motivation if I want to read a book or if I want to understand a song. So you have to find things that you like that will motivate you to learn a language. So if you're interested in Portuguese, maybe it would be interesting to maybe start planning a trip, even if it is in the future, even if it is just like 1 year from now. That will give you a lot of motivation to learn the language, or just to or make friends in Brazil, or find songs that you like that will help you with motivation. And I think that joining a community to have maybe a course with other people learning also the same language, that will help you to be motivated. So you have people to talk with, people that are learning and doing the same thing that you are doing. Muito bom. Looking for more questions, guys. If you're watching me on Instagram, I cannot read your comment. It's very hard. So use the question mark tool, the question tool, so I can read your question, okay? I'm trying to read more questions from YouTube. So Valentina is a similar question. Do you have special tips for someone who is very interested in learning Portuguese? I have many tips. Actually, I have a series of videos where I share a lot of tips to learn Portuguese in this YouTube channel. So if you go to the playlist tips, you find a lot of tips. But I'm going to give you a couple. I think I prepared a course that teaches pronunciation. I recommend we start with that, because that will give you a jump start, it will give you motivation to start learning. You find this course on my website, speakingbrasilian.com. It's free. It helped thousands of people, and it is a very complete course about Brazilian Portuguese pronunciation that will help you to get started. And then I recommend you watch the playlist called Basic Course. In this channel, YouTube channel, you find all the main topics that you should learn when you start learning Portuguese. Okay, so I think that would be a good start. Muito bom. Looking for more questions, guys. Muito bom. Eu quero aprender português, mas não tenho dinheiro. So I offer a lot of tools for free. So you find more than 100 lessons in this channel, on my YouTube channel. And also I offer the free mini course in pronunciation. And there is my blog, a lot of lessons in my blog, and this free Q&A every Thursday. So even if you don't have money to purchase, to enroll in a class, you can learn Portuguese by yourself. You just need to be motivated, and you need a lot of, you have to be organized, and you need a lot of discipline, right, to be able to study by yourself, but it is possible. Looking for more questions, guys. Muito bom. What is your favorite spot in the south? I really like Rio Grande do Sul. I love Porto Alegre, such a nice city, and people from Porto Alegre are really nice and fun, and they have a beautiful accent. If you like beaches, Florianopolis has the most amazing beaches. I lived in Florianopolis for almost 10 years. It's beautiful, but I also love Curitiba. It's hard to find one place. Curitiba, I love the capitals. They're really nice, beautiful cities. They are not like large cities like São Paulo and Rio. They are much smaller. So even though they are capitals, they have this feeling of a small town. So they're all amazing, but also the mountain areas of Santa Catarina and Rio Grande do Sul, they are beautiful. So it really depends on what you're looking for, but the entire region is very beautiful. Muito bom. Looking for more questions, guys. Muito bom. So I have a question about pronunciation here. Tem diferença na pronúncia das palavras mal e mal, alto e alto? No. So this is a funny thing when you about Brazilian Portuguese. We don't pronounce the L at the end of syllables. So at the end of words or in the middle of a word, if it is between a vowel and a consonant, there is no L sound, right? So the L is pronounced exactly like the U. So the word mau, which means bad, the opposite of good, and the word mau with L sound exactly the same. Mau with L is the opposite of bem, it's the opposite of well, and mau with U is the opposite of good, the opposite of bom. And auto and auto, also same pronunciation. That was a very good question. The pronunciation is exactly the same. You know if you're using one word or the other by the context. It is important to write correctly though. Pay attention when you're writing. Muito bom. Por que muitas pessoas usam sh sound when pronouncing the S? So this is an accent, right? Some places in Brazil, people pronounce the S as an SH. Sh. So they have this sh sound. It is very common in Rio de Janeiro, and it is very common in some areas in the south as well. Florianopolis, for instance, it has this sh sound because of the influence from Portugal. In Portugal, they also have this kind of pronunciation. So Rio and Florianopolis, they also have this pronunciation with the S more sh. It is just a different accent, okay? Muito bom. Looking for more questions. Is it easy to find a job like bread bake? I'm not sure about finding a job. Like in São Paulo, it's a big city, so a lot of people go to São Paulo to look for jobs. So I believe that it's not too hard to find a job as a baker or pizza chef in São Paulo. I would say it is not too difficult. What is a popular dish in Paraná? I talk about that in the video. Do you guys remember the name of the popular dish in Paraná? There are many dishes, of course. It is a big state. But there is one dish that I mentioned in the video. Do you guys remember? Let me know in the comments. John is asking if I like what kind of Brazilian songs. I don't like sertanejo. I do love bossa nova and samba and MPB and Brazilian rock. We have amazing music in Brazil. I don't like sertanejo, I'm sorry, but it is very popular in Brazil for sure. So Dee is asking, I know only English, how difficult would it be for a 69-year-old to learn when to speak your beautiful language? Dee, it is very, it really depends on each person. If you have never studied any language before, of course, it is more difficult for you because it would help a lot if you had learned before. But I think you should just get started. It might be easier than you think, and you should just have fun, you know, no stress. You should study without the pressure of learning fast. You should take your time and have fun. It can take many years to learn a language, especially if you only speak English, and Portuguese is so different, right? It's a Latin root language, so it's very different from English. So I recommend you just start one step at a time. And I recommend you do it for fun, you know, and you will learn with your time. Take your time. You don't have to learn fast, right? It is much easier for people that already speak Spanish, for instance, that it's easier. But I don't think the age is a problem. I think it's just like your background. If you have never had contact with other languages before, it can be a little bit difficult. But you just should have fun learning, and you will be fine, and you'll learn. It will take you about maybe 6 months to understand a little bit, maybe 2 years to be able to really have any kind of conversation. This is normal in any language learning. It takes years to really learn a language and be fluent in a language, okay? What is your favorite sotaki? So my favorite accent in Brazil is actually the one from Minas Gerais. I love it. It's so cute. And the second one I would say is the one from Bahia in the northeast. It is so beautiful. it is really nice. I'll talk about the Northeast next week, so stay tuned, don't miss my next video about the Northeast. Muito bom, looking for more questions, guys. Qual seria o sotaque brasileiro mais difícil de entender? What would be the most difficult accent to understand? Oh, that is very hard to tell because it really depends on how fast people speak and how much slang they use. So I think that all accents are difficult. The standard accent, let's say, I'm using quotes here because there's no standard accent, right? But the one that you find in television that reporters use is like a little bit more standard. They speak clearly, but that's not the way that most people speak naturally. So all accents are very difficult. When you see like two Brazilians talking to each other, I'd say that it is always difficult. It doesn't matter the accent. It is easier to understand. If you want to listen to a Portuguese that's a little bit easier to understand, I recommend you look for reporters like a TV news or radio, like news in the radio or on TV. These people, they are trained to speak clearly, so their accent's much easier to understand. It doesn't matter the region, right? So I have a question about the position of the pronoun se. So in Brazil, most of the time you place it before the verb. In Portugal, it is more common to use these pronouns after the verb. There is no difference in the meaning. Is the same. It's just like how we speak. So in Brazil, always before the verb. Okay. Sometimes there are a lot of rules regarding to the place of pronouns. I'm not going to talk about this because that would take hours to explain all the rules about the pronouns placement in Portuguese. But Brazilians always place it before the verb. Okay, take a look at it. Pay attention to how Brazilians speak. Always place it before the verb. Muito bom. Looking for more questions, guys. I see that someone asked here on Instagram about if in the South they use você or SUL. They use both. It depends on the region. I know that people from sorry, Porto Alegre, they always use tu. I have a lot of friends from there. They use tu and they conjugate the tu with the conjugation of the pronoun você. So this is something that is very common in Porto Alegre. Maybe also all Rio Grande do Sul. I'm not 100% sure because I only know Porto Alegre. I'm not very familiar with the other cities of Rio Grande do Sul. So this is very common in Porto Alegre, in Rio Grande do Sul. Also, but we use tu and você all over Brazil. So these two pronouns are mixed, are used all over Brazil. Some regions, they use the conjugation correctly for the pronoun tu, but it's very rare. Most people just use the pronoun tu with the conjugation of the pronoun você, which is wrong grammatically, but so many people speak like that, like millions of people, so who am I to say that is wrong? So it's just a dialect. You know, the Brazilian language is changing all the time, and this is one of the changes that is happening, that has been happening for a while, which is the use of the pronoun tu with the conjugation of the pronoun você. It is very common everywhere, especially in some areas, especially in Porto Alegre, but also you see a lot of people speaking like that everywhere. Okay, guys, very good questions. Looking for more questions. If you have any question about Portuguese, let me know. If you are on Instagram, use the question tool because it's very hard to read your comments, okay? Okay, looking for more questions, guys. So someone is asking me if I want to learn another language. So yes, I always like to have a project to learn languages. Sometimes I just try to maintain the ones that I already know because if I don't practice for a long time, sometimes I just start forgetting. So I speak Portuguese, of course, English, French, Spanish. My Spanish is not so good. I need to improve it. And I started to learn German. It is very, very difficult. I know how I can understand a few words. I cannot really speak it yet. And I had to stop because I was very busy with other projects, but I want to continue. I really want to learn German. It's a big challenge, but it is fun. I like the sounds, and I have German friends, and that's my motivation to learn German, to be able to speak with my friends and understand when they talk to each other, you know. And but next year my goal is to learn Italian, because I have my husband got an Italian citizenship because he's from the south of Brazil. As I said in the video, we have a lot of Germans and Italians, and even though his last name is from German, his mother is from Italy. His grandmother was from Italy, the mother of his mother, and he got Italian citizenship, and I could get also Italian citizenship if I wanted, but for that I need to learn Italian. So this is a very fun project that I have for next year. I will learn Italian. So that's my goal for next year when it comes to language learning. I'm learning Italian. Wish me luck. It should not be too difficult, right? Because it is very similar to Portuguese and Spanish, so I think that will be not too difficult. Okay, guys, looking for more questions. So many comments. Thank you so much for joining me today. Does anyone pick up sentence structure as part of language learning? I usually study language structure in context. You know, I don't stop to study just language sentence structure. I pick up some sentences, and then you can compare to your language and understand a little bit where the verb goes, where the the complement goes, where the subject goes. I would not worry too much with that, because if you spend too much time thinking about grammar and complicated stuff, that will block you. So I recommend you just try to learn it with imitation. Just imitate how native speakers use this, and you'll learn it naturally with time. Yeah, so Israel is saying, I think all accents, accent is accent, right? It's not right or wrong. It's just how we speak. Everyone has an accent. So sometimes people say, oh, people from this place, they don't have an accent. Come on, this does not exist. Everyone has an accent, and there is no right or wrong when it comes to accent, right? I agree with you, Israel. It's normal accents. Everyone has one accent. And I recommend you don't worry about accents when you are learning languages, Portuguese, for instance, because it really doesn't matter. You will have your own accent, okay? As someone learning Portuguese as a second language, you will never speak exactly like a Brazilian. That's not possible. You always have your own accent, which is nice. Accents are nice. It gives you personality. Se eu falo alemão, posso lidar I'm sorry, I don't understand your question. I think that many people still speak German in some places in Santa Catarina and Rio Grande do Sul, but not everywhere and not everyone, just like small communities. Muito bom. So this is a fun question. What is your favorite Portuguese word? So I'm going to ask everyone. We're going to finish the Q&A soon. So one last question for you. What is your favorite word in Portuguese? So my makeup and then says is cafuné. Cafuné is a fun word. It means like caressing one's head, you know, like doing this. It is cafuné. We have a word for that in Brazil. It's cafuné. I think one of my favorite words is saudade. Saudade means it's the feeling of missing someone. It doesn't have a perfect translation to other languages as well. Saudade. Saudade means, you can just say saudade when you miss someone. Like when I talk to my mom, I say saudade. It means I miss you. Saudade. Or you can also use in a sentence, right? Estou com saudade de você. It means I miss you. So this is one of my favorite words. So lindas is fofo. Fofo is a cute word. It means cute. Very good. Oh, you guys have so many questions. So what other words you like, guys? Beija-flor. Beija-flor is a cute one. Beija-flor is the name of a bird. I don't even know how to call it in English. Beija-flor. It is a beautiful bird. Abacaxi. Abacaxi is a good one. So I have two people saying abacaxi at the same time. Abacaxi is a good one. Muito bom. I love your list of words. Saudades, beija-flor, abacaxi. Legal. Legal is also a good word, which means nice. Very good. So hummingbird. Okay, so hummingbird is beija-flor. Thank you. Borboleta. Borboleta is a nice word. It means butterfly. Very good, guys. Joaninha. Joaninha is very cute. Joaninha is, Joaninha is like the ladybug. It's Joaninha. It's a cute name. Pipoca. I love that one. Pipoca. Popcorn. Pipoca. So this is a fun question, guys. I love a list of favorite words. Formiga. Formiga is a fun one. It means ant. Okay, guys, it was a pleasure to be with you today. I hope this was useful. It is very hard for me to answer all your questions. So if you want to send me questions in advance, you can just send me, just log in to go to my Facebook group and send me your questions. I always receive questions in advance if you have questions. Okay, I'll be here again next Thursday at 12 p.m. I hope I'll see you then. And next Tuesday, I'm going to publish the video about the Northeast. Stay tuned, don't miss the next video. I think you're gonna love it. Um beijo, tchau, tchau, até mais!